Well, I'm here with Park Ranger Robert Ambrose and Goober, and we are curious, what was barracks life like here at Fort Frederick?
Well, I can tell you right off that Goober would not enjoy it. I've seen enough of Goober, what he likes, and this would not be for him. However, in the 1750s, these barracks would have been a pretty good place to be. This room would house two squads of 6 to 8 men, so about 16 men living in this space in two separate squads. Um, the barracks themselves were known as, according to the governor, commodious indeed, meaning large and spacious. So compared to what they could be, 6 men crammed into a tent, or sleeping on the ground with no cover, or in a small drafty cabin, these barracks would have been considered pretty nice. 2-story, clapboard siding, glass windows. Each squad of 8 has their own fireplace, their own tables, their own bunks, their own place to call home while they're here. So this is pretty nice. Now, this space as a barracks room might surprise some people, but this room is everything a soldier would need outside of his normal military day. With a fireplace, it is heat, light, and it is the kitchen. The soldiers are going to cook for themselves. In these squads of 6 to 8 men, they are going to receive their ration of about a pound of bread, a pound of meat, a pint of peas or beans, and maybe a few other odds and ends on the daily. And one soldier from the squad would be assigned to cook. Primarily, it'd be a soup or a stew, those kinds of things. So they're going to cook here. This table here would be your prep table. It would be your dining room table where they're going to eat. This is going to be the place where you would spend time doing your diversions and amusements, playing cards, sitting around just shooting the breeze. All that stuff could happen around this space, particularly in the evening. Uh, During the course of the day, the soldiers will eat one warm, hot meal. That's usually their lunch meal, and would eat leftovers or a cold breakfast and dinner. So they would come in during the middle of the day. Soldiers' Day starts early. They would get up in the morning, basically get dressed, do a quick cleanup, and then they would go out for roll call and then go on to their day. And they would come back here in the evening is when they would do their primary kind of time in here. Because once it got dark, there wasn't a whole lot you could do outside. So in here, these guys are not only going to eat, they're going to sleep. They're going to do their personal hygiene. We have the wash station here where they're going to make sure they're washing their face, hands, and neck daily at least. This is a place where you're going to mend your clothes. You are going to write letters, do all the things that you would do in all the rooms in your own home in one space. Now, to us, the biggest thing to think about here is the sleeping arrangements. Goober, I asked him how many beds were in here, and Goober told me there are 8 beds in here. And I asked Goober, I said, Goober, how many men lived in this room? And Goober told me that there are 16 men. There is a mathematical problem, Bill. What is the mathematical problem?
We don't have enough beds for everyone.
We don't have enough beds for everyone. That's right. So the soldiers are sleeping 2 men per bed. So this is an 8-man squad in 4 bunks. And no, we're not hot bunking like in the Navy. We are sharing because we do everything together. If we're sleeping, the squad is sleeping. So you would share the bed with 2 people. Now, to us today, that sounds crazy. Back then, their sense of space and room and comfort is completely different. And so what we're looking at here, there's a purpose for this. One, if every man had their own bed, this barracks would go from being 120 feet long to being at least 240 feet long. So already pretty big. 2, by having 2 people, each bed would have a mattress. This one's folded over because no one's staying here. A mattress, a bolster pillow that's this heavy straw-filled pillow, a bed rug or a blanket, a big heavy blanket that belongs to the bed, and then each soldier would be issued a blanket. So in the winter, you would have the straw mattress, you would have body heat, and up to 3 blankets to help keep you warm because you weren't allowed to keep a roaring fire all the time. You would have just enough to keep the chill off the room because there is no insulation in this space. This is very primitive in that respect. So you might want to have that space with someone. The other thing to keep in mind, people a lot of times will say to us, well, the beds look awful small. Well, yeah, they are 6 foot or a little less, but for the most part, we sleep differently in the 18th century than we do today. Today, we like our Serta Perfect sleepers and we like to lay all out flat and perfectly flat. Well, these bolster pillows, when packed tightly enough, will force you to basically sit up. The beds are sloped, so you would sleep with your head up on the slope, plus the bolster pillow. You would be in a reclined or almost seated position sleeping, and when you do that, you don't need 7 foot of bed for a 6 foot person. You could sleep easily through here. I'm about 6 feet, and if I do it correctly, I have no problem sleeping in these beds. So barracks life is going to be primarily, early morning and late in the day, late in the evening. You are going to spend most of your life outside in the 18th century. So you are used to the heat, to the cold, and all those things. But this is clearly a multi-purpose space. Your men are cooking for themselves. They're, taking care of their hygiene and their clothing in here, and then sleeping in here as well. I don't know, Bill, if you have any questions for me or Goober has any questions, I'll
Well,
be glad to
you,
answer them.
you mentioned the fireplace, and there's two in this room, and there's a big black metal plate back there. What is that? Is that a tombstone?
So a lot of people think that no, those are called firebacks, and more than likely, no, I shouldn't say more than likely. We know they did not exist in this fort in the 18th century. They are completely 18th century. But the purpose of these are to, one, reflect heat back in the room, and two, to protect the stone in the fireplace from wearing away. We know they didn't have them originally because in the American Revolution, when they were looking to make the fort into a prisoner of war camp, they said, hey, the backs of the fireplaces are broke down. Well, that's because there had been no fire backs. And so instead of this being, they considered this here because there's a fireplace on the other side, because it was open all the way through, they said, well, we'll just make it one big fireplace. But those are firebacks. They are very 18th century. They before you would find them primarily in a lot of homes and stuff. But here in the fort, they didn't have them, but we have it to protect our resource today.
Very cool. And I see you have the table set uh, with some rations here.
Yeah, so basically the daily part of the daily ration, a pound of loaf bread, a pound of pork. We got a little bit of cheese. There's maybe something extra they got. We have some hard ship's bread, which would have been another way to get your flour or bread ration. And then we have a big pound of butter that would have been for the whole group for basically for the week. We don't have any beans or peas in here, but that would have been part of the ration. This room is our typical display that we use. It's set up to represent two different points for the fort. One, a fully appointed, we've got guys staying in here, sleeping in here, and then the other squad, because the fort is never fully full of troops, that is waiting for the next squad to come in. So that's why the beds are folded up, why the plates and stuff are just sitting on the table, and there's no personal gear. It's empty. Those bunks are empty, waiting for troops to fill them.
All right. And I guess last but not least, Goober wants to know if he did enlist, would he get rum?
Well, that's a good question for Goober. So rum is a military ration, is sometimes a regular issue. Usually you get a gill a day, which is basically a shot and a half. Here at Fort Frederick, there is not a lot of records that they got rum except for special work. So if a soldier is sent out to work on a road or dig a ditch or do those kind of things, they would be given a rum ration as encouragement and to help them go through their day. But the rum ration, and Goober's probably one of the guys that wouldn't do it the right way, because I know Goober. The rum ration, that gill of rum, was meant to be poured into your canteen or into your pitcher of water. They knew that if you did that, you didn't get sick drinking water, but they didn't know why. So germ theory doesn't exist yet, but they knew if you do that, that's why they have grog in the Navy. It's watered down rum or water that's been rummed down, however you want to put it, because it kills the bacteria, which they didn't realize, but they knew it worked. They didn't know the how. They knew what it did do. So if Goober was supposed to put it in his canteen every day, but if Goober wanted, I guess he could hoard it up and then have a nice little drunk. But yeah, it's not meant to be a big drink for you.
All right. Well, you answered all my questions. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we close out?
Um, As always, we'd love to have you come out and visit us. We're open right now to Labor Day, Thursday through Monday, 10 to 5. We have some special events coming up, but we are here costumed those 5 days a week until Labor Day. After that, I'm not 100% sure how much will be open, probably on the weekends through the rest of the year. But come out and visit us. Our French Indian War Muster's coming up in September. We moved the date back this year to, I think it's the 20th. So just come out and visit us here, or just keep watching Bill's great videos and learn more. And we hope to hear from you soon.
All right, stay safe, be kind, be courteous, everyone, and visit Fort Frederick in Big Pool, Maryland.